Welcome to the show. And today we are talking surfing, beer, coffee, and radio with Cape Town's veteran surf reporter and beer entrepreneur, Deon Bing. My name is Holger Meyer, and this is BeerWorld. Deon Bing, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Holger. Thanks for calling. How's Durban?
Durban's a bit messed up, as you might have seen. We've had some terrible rains, and it's really affected a lot of people. Fortunately, I'm okay. We're sitting high up on the hills, and it's not so bad here.
Yeah, I've seen lots of scenes of devastation like the second time round. They're pretty swat, so hopefully they can help everybody out there. And our winters have just started down here in Cape Town, where we do our super brew. That's what we hear about, eh?
Yeah. Deon, we met I think it was about in 2015. I was at Banana Jam with a bunch of guys from on a hops tour, and you were busy delivering beer to Banana Jam. Can you remember that?
Yeah. No, I totally remember that. And it's interesting that Banana Jam was the place where we launched the beer, and it was Bings Bru. That's what we were doing there before Greg did so many brews of his own that there were no more taps left at Banana Jam, so Bings Bru had to leave there. But I got no sock with that. It is what it is. And Greg's got amazing brews. And also, one of the original Oaks to bring craft brewing back to Cape Town. So I've got to give a shout out to Greg, surfing and beer. That's his life.
Surf, beer, travel. You've got to love his Instagram handle. And I do love Banana Jam. It must be the top destination for any beer geek in the country. But Deon, you also seem to be living the life. Surfer, radio jock, traveler, and now beer. Tell us a little bit, how did you end up in the beer business?
So Banana Jam opened up a section for us because our son Justin, pretty good surfer, represented the country quite a few times. We were doing a fundraiser, and we were running out of options to fundraise. There only so many times you can get your mates back for another auction, and that they say, no, I've just got to find a job, Brew. We can't keep it. so we said, okay, we're gonna do a once-off batch brew, and I just sell it to the same old Oaks who don't realize we're doing another fundraiser to help the Lighty represent the country over in Nicaragua. So we brewed up a batch at home, went down there, made up some labels with a mate of mine, did a couple of bottles, put some caps on, and we had a turnout of about, looking around that room, 50, 60 people. I mean, people love beer. It's a great fundraising idea. Had a couple of giveaways, whatever, and hey, everybody came to the party helping out. Greg as well with Banana Jam, and we raised 18, 20 grand out of the beer and bits and pieces, which allowed Justin to represent overseas. And that was the start of Bings Bru, and what we thought was the end of Bings Bru Pale Ale. But that's where the story just started, eh?
Wow. So it wasn't just a once-off.
It was meant to be. I got enough on my plate, Brew. I do surf reports. I've been doing radio down here forever. I do a bit of MC work. We've done, what else have I got? I've got a video production company as well. And sunscreen business, distributing sunscreen. I mean, it was a mess. It's like he gets back after doing well in Nicaragua, and the Oaks are saying, hey, where's the beer? So I said, no, you bought the beer. That was it. He said, no, Brie, we want more beer. So, for whatever. I mean, it's fun, but it's just like, it's just like another thing I don't have time for, because we got to surf as well. With the surf, so you want a bit of free time. So anyway, so I thought, okay, cap in hand, I'm not going to do it in the bath anymore. I'm now going to try and lift it a level, because, who knows if the first batch of Bings Bru is going to be the second batch of Bings Bru, with my sort of skills. So went around, looked at a couple of smaller brewers, and Boston Brewery was helping out a couple of, let's call it, contract brewers, I suppose,
Yeah, a couple of the big boys started there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And look at them and look at me. Anyway, so there we were at Boston Brewery. They were really lucky. We came a couple of batches there, got it out there, started to move it. And then I think about the third batch in, they said, no. We're getting rid of all the look, they didn't call me rats and mice, but obviously I'm too small for them. Wasn't enough volume. So they got rid of all the smaller contract brewers back then. Fair enough. Hey, they got a business to run. I'm just an oak having a bit of fun down there. So Boston continued with their own brews and with their own strategy development plan. That was also let's call it 5-6 years ago. So then, hey, back knocking on doors. And at that stage, Woodstock Brewery was just starting out. And that's Andre Viljoen, hey?
You started contract brewing with Andre, and he does a lot of other contract brews.
Yeah, so it wasn't as simple as that.
Okay.
Hey, Andre, can I contract brew? Bingo! We'd love to have you. No. A couple of hoops there.
Yeah.
Early days, they were, trying to commission the brewery, get it going, and like cash flow super tight. I mean, you know what it's like commissioning a brewery, and you aren't moving any beer yet, and it's like tight times.
And you bought a brewery off the internet from China.
Yeah, and it's difficult to read the instructions, eh?
Yeah.
But they had Divalt and all the guys down there, and they made good beer. They got it right. But so I said, hey, well, this is my plan, And it was like a lovely plan coming from an oak that sponsored his lighty to go surfing. But possibly we could meet you in the middle and assist you from a brewing perspective, in the nicest possible way. I'm not going to swear on on your podcast, but basically my recipe was crap. And thank them for their brutal honesty. For developing Bings Bru back then, and it has changed, I would say, at least 10 times in the 7 years to what it is today. And it is the world's best pale ale. Unashamedly, I will shout it out here, but the world's best unavailable pale ale. If you are able to get your hands on a bottle or taste from a keg, you will be blown away. But unfortunately, we know it's not about brewing great beer. It's about distribution. It's about all the other stuff. And I think that's what a lot of people got stuck on, that it's like, hey, we can get a $1 or $2 million brewery. We sort of invest, and then we'll make great beer because everybody loves beer. And then, oh man, we've got to market, we've got to distribute, we've got to merchandise, we've got to da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And you sit there with 1,000 liters of really great beer and make great friends,
Yeah.
So that was the start with Andre, and I'm still with Andre and the various brewers who've been through their Etienne's brewing at the moment. And it's just got better and better. But yeah, in the interim, we briefly touched on, we went into lockdown, which, I mean, for everybody was hard, but especially for micro brewers. You don't have the big bucks behind you to say, hey, we've got 2,000, 5,000 liters here. It's expired. Let's haul it down the drain, Or being told, hey, the lockdown, the ban on alcohol consumption is over. So everybody thinks, fantastic, let's brew. And then, sorry, I know you've just brewed, but you can't sell it. Like, what is that about? It was just a shocker. I mean, how anybody managed to hang in. And we all know, sadly, how many people didn't manage to hang in because of poor decisions. So not from them, from, not being able to brew and keep your staff and all that sort of thing. So thank goodness Plan B came in, where Andre decided, hey, we've got these brewing kettles. Let's make soup. Let's make soup. And people were desperate. Never mind, there's people hungry every day. Now there's how many more people unemployed that need at least one meal a day nutrition. Obviously, we need 3 meals a day, but if you can get something. So, yeah, I mean, it was a learning curve for everybody, and pumps broke and everything broke, and, but just push on. And fantastic nutritional soup, the kind of people that came through the doors that were peeling carrots, that were from high-end Michelin star restaurants, that were helping to develop recipes that were nutritious, and from tying in with the city of Cape Town to say, hey, how do we distribute it? It's like anything, we've made great beer. How do you distribute it? We've made great soup. How do you get it to the person that's the hungriest? I mean, maybe there's a flood or a fire, and there's an emergency desperation there versus, the regular feeding scheme. So it was an intervention that came at the right time, and it obviously was onerous for the brewery to keep it going, but there's no other option. People are hungry. You keep stoking those pots, keeping them going, and obviously there was cash involved in keeping the equipment or repairing the equipment or just making stuff happen. And a lot of people came to the party. Every time there was a hurdle, there was an option to overcome it. So the brewery was the base, but lots of people got involved. I don't want to begin to name, because lots of people got involved on a daily basis, volunteering, and obviously it had to be sustainable. And there is a process that could plug and play in any brewery globally, because there are hungry people globally, and it's not just Woodstock that came up with an idea. There are breweries globally, and there are hungry people globally, and it's as easy to clean a brewing kettle from grain as it is from
soup,
from pumpkins. And that's where the pumpkin ale came from. No, not really. So they've set up a standalone facility. So now Woodstock is back to brewing, and the standalone facility is busy being commissioned to continue with what was learned, the process that was learned, to continue providing food. And millions of meals went out, not just a couple of 100,000, millions of meals went out over that lockdown period from an initiative started at Woodstock Brewery.
Deon, so have you guys recovered since the lockdown? I mean, you obviously have a multiple streams of income, like they always say, but with one drying up. What is the beer market like in Cape Town now? No, man.
It's always been a bit of fun for me.
Yeah.
I do many things, and it's been a bit of a hobby. I've been the route of getting into bottle stores, but it's a tough route. You're up against a lot of people, and you can't compete against the big guys. Basically, I mean, I was in a lot of pubs. Quite a few of those pubs closed down over the time, so it's just knocking on doors again. But you know the way it goes. I mean, it was this one big happy craft beer industry 7 years ago. And then slowly you get various investors and stakeholders in that. And you start to wonder whether the original crowd have made a buck or whether the people with the big money are making more bucks. And the original concept is, yeah. So ultimately, just have fun with your craft beer. But if you're a small brewer in it for the money, you got a snort club coming.
So Deon, how many outlets, how many taps have you still got in the trade?
No, we got about 6 taps.
Okay.
But I really think direct distribution, direct to the person at home is the way to do it. And obviously we're working on that in the background. So that's an option. Online is always an option if you can sort out the delivery and the licensing issues. You can make a buck if you and I'm not saying, to sustain a family and a house and a car and all that sort of thing, but, you go down to beer fests and that sort of thing, and you get your tap price, so you're selling it at a $30, $40 a pint. Then you can start to cover a few costs for a bit of pin money. But if you want to take it to, national distribution into the stores with the merchandising, with the branding, with all the other cool stuff that goes with it, you need people involved, and you need an investor.
Yeah.
And listen, I've got the template. I know exactly how it's going to roll out, and we're talking to a couple of people that are saying, listen, you've got a great beer, you've got a great brand. You've ticked it over for 7 years. What are you going to do with it? So I've always been, hey, man, I'll chuck 2 38-kilo kegs on my shoulders and I'll walk up the back stairs and deliver. I've got no issue with that. But it's only so far you can get being a one-man band. And then you've got to sort of say, okay, all right, bring the oaks in. What do you want to do? How much involvement do you want from me? Well, it's probably better that I just sit down, shut up, and they run with it, But I think that's the bottom line. We've got great beer. We've got a good brand, and we need to get it out so more people can taste it. And for that, we need a bigger team to make it happen.
Yeah. And that's expensive.
And that's expensive. And I don't have that sort of cash to chuck in to see, hey, is this going to work? But I think, the people I'm chatting to are clever guys, they're like accountants. So they look at where you need to focus and spend, and who's keen to take a brand somewhere. I'm always happy to help where I'm needed, but put a good team together rather than just be a one-man band.
Yeah, Deon, how much do you think has it helped that everybody knows you and that you're a personality? It's obviously opened a lot of doors, but the doors don't stay open if you deliver, bad service.
Yeah, so that's why I've kept it small. I'll only handle what I can personally handle. But you're absolutely right. I mean, I luckily have been on radio for 30 years. It's added up various stations. And my sell is definitely not that, I'm a surf reporter, have you heard me on radio? I mean, geez, I want to puke. Influencer under the influence. Yeah. But the reality is, I'll say, how's it? I'll sell beer on its merits, but if I can't get through the door, I'll leave my name.
Yeah.
And then somebody says, hey, Bru, I listened to you driving the kids to school, or they were that kid in sub A or grade 1 going to school, and now they're a buyer or something like that, and they say, hey, let's have a chat. So while it'll get you the meeting, it won't sort of automatically get you the order, but at least somebody's prepared to chat. And generally we chat about surfing and then forget why I was there in the first place. But I'm happy to do that. I mean, there's good people out there. I love meeting people, and whether I sell my beer or not, that's secondary,
Yeah.
To me, honestly, it sounds weird, but
it's just a lubricant.
Exactly. And my mates love my beer, and I'll take a keg round to a first birthday party, and what it's like. You're a young parent, and you haven't seen your mates in a year. You've been down, changing nappies and feeding, and then all of a sudden I'm invited because, like, whatever. I don't even know why I'm invited. Just we buddies with the new baby. And you just got a sneaky little keg in the back, and you arrive there. It's like the party is on, Bring the beer, life is good. So, so that's where we're at.
Besides Woodstock, you've given a big shout out to Woodstock as a supplier. Have you got any other suppliers in the industry that you use?
I must say that the guys at the brewery are fantastic, as in, helping to evolve the brew. Rob Monroe helps me a hell of a lot. He's got Cape Town Brewery. He's got the most incredible nitro stout that he's developed.
Yeah.
And then he was the guy who said, hey, we need to change the game with a bit of sneaky mosaic hops. And I'm thinking, Bru, I don't want to be another session IPA. The IPAs. I want to be somebody who's coming out of a Castle Light, who's heard about craft beer, and he doesn't want his palate blown away. I love IPAs. I mean, the Californicator is like the world's freaking best.
Yeah.
And I'll drink IPAs. Well, okay, not all day. I won't last all day, but I'll definitely have one or two of them. But my thing is there's still a massive market out there that don't drink craft beer. I want an easy drinking ale that is, no, I don't drink craft. And they taste it. It's like, hang on, this is actually quite lekker.
Yeah.
So it gave a little bit of sexiness to my regional English pale ale, which is now West Coast English, whatever, Midwest pale ale. But honestly, like I said at the beginning, you will not get a better pale ale. And hey, fight me for that one, Bru. You will not get a better one, but you can't get it.
And you're not doing any other beers. You only got the pale ale.
Okay, so how long we got here? Because I go to Mexico a couple of times, and you've got the Modelo, you've got obviously Pacifico, you've got Corona, all that sort of thing, and I wanted to do a Mexican style lager, easy drinking, and the brewers push back. I mean, that's the reality. They don't do pea beer,
It's hard to make, eh?
Yeah, they don't do clear they don't do beer like that. But I really still believe there's place for a light, easy drinking summer lager, not Pacifico, but Atlantic O, And I started with the whole promotional video. I was there on the west coast of Mexico, drinking a Pacifico in my not Hawaiian shirt, like a freaking hippie shirt. They're walking into the warm, Pacific Ocean with my Pacifico until I disappeared under the water. And the plan was to arrive in the same shirt out of the water down at Table View Bloberg Strand with the Atlantic O,
Okay.
It left Mexico. But the Atlantic O brew, which we did like a 20-liter batch, needs a little bit more work.
Okay.
Needs a little bit more work. But like you say, do I do more beers? We are trying.
And you've made the video.
I've got half a video. But there's something in the pipeline. But I mean, also, you don't want to make your life too messy. Now we got extra bottles, extra distribution, extra labels, move the stuff. It's like a whole nother level. So maybe I'll just stick to 20-liter small batches and come round to Woodstock Brewery when we crack a keg for an evening type of vibe.
Yeah, tell us about the coffee.
Related to surfing.
Yeah. Who are you paying for now? Is it a fundraiser?
It's a fundraiser for me, bro. I haven't made a buck in 59 years. Surfing with a mate of mine, Kevin, and we've been chatting about coffee forever. And like I said, I want to have less stuff. Less is more. I do so much stuff that I juggle all the time. It's like, no, bro, I don't want coffee. It's just another animal. So then I thought, listen, we've had biblical failures with everything else up to now. Surely you've learned something, And I suppose what we learned entrepreneurially, like I said earlier about, getting more people involved in getting the beer somewhere, is build up a team from the beginning. Don't just try and go it alone and then make the same mistakes that you've always made. So we've got a great team making the coffee, roasting, packing, and we've got like a team on the online side. I've just been meeting with people on the distribution side. So, and I'm already in a shop, the Spa down at the Elfin there, and they're saying, "Hey, we need you in more shops." I'm saying, I'm learning here. I'm learning by the day on online, how my online mix of promoting, local targeting, boosting everything for an area relates to actual people going through the door and picking it up. And what does it look like on the shelf? And then you start to learn about the merchandising wars and all that sort of thing, and shelf space and all the rest of it. But I've got a great team on board on the coffee side that I'm way more comfortable that we can take it places based on the previous experiences of things that went nowhere. So, it's maybe we should start entrepreneurial classes or something like that. I love it. I absolutely love it. I have no issues with failure. Absolutely nothing. I enjoy it when there are these small successes, but you just got to keep on keeping on, eh? And something's got to give. Something's got to give. Something's got to give.
And are there learnings from the coffee that you can take back to the beer?
Yes, I think both are going to work in conjunction now. What I'm learning out of and it gets back to pick a good team.
Okay.
Pick people with strengths in areas that you need. And obviously, you've got to look at your costings, that there's enough margin around for everybody, and that you don't price yourself out the market. And unfortunately, I think on the beer side, it's just getting more and more expensive to make a quality beer that, and with the market out there, make a quality beer that people are going to pay $35 for one bottle of beer for 40 ml, where I could buy myself a quart of Lion, which I do at, $14.
Yeah.
You know, you got to have a really good selling proposition. And obviously we understand it's not all about the volume and that sort of thing, but there are people who are sitting around a braai that want to have a couple of beers and $35, you know. But then again, it could be like the wine drinking kind of thing, where when I go into a shop and I'll try something new, what do I try? You know, so people won't buy 12 Bings Brews, they'll buy 2. And they'll buy, hey, I haven't tried the new Devil's Peak, or I haven't tried the new Kelly, or I haven't tried the new whatever it might be, you know? So mix it up a bit. And I think you would know better than me, but I mean, I think that's how people buy their craft beers. Yeah. And I think there was a bit of a hiccup when a lot of people got involved in craft brewing, looked at the margins they could make, but still didn't have the input at the bottom end. And a lot of crap beer came out that didn't have a shelf life, that was variable, that was all kinds of bad stuff. And then all of a sudden you got a Trappist ale at, 35, and you got Dave's Garage Ale at 34. And it's like, hang on, now people were a little confused as to what was a good beer. And then they paid the 35. I know I did. And I said, geez, let's try this out. And it wasn't great. And it's like, oh, my goodness. Now it's not great for the industry. Then also, obviously, for the big players, SAB, if people are paying $35 a beer, hey, we got a place to play here, you know? Yeah. And I don't know what they would pay for a pint of beer when they're making it, I mean, how many hectoliters are coming out of there?
Deon, you as a storyteller and as a producer, how have you used that to promote your beer? Have you done that, or is it just been word of mouth?
No, I've definitely done that, but built it into being authentic. Yeah, it's not. What was it? I don't want to name a brand, but I mean with that hard sell kind of thing, I'm drinking a Bings Bru. I'm super stoked. We used to send our son overseas. You got to have a taste of it. Use it, don't use it kind of thing. Yeah. It honestly is part of my lifestyle. Beer is part of my lifestyle. And if I'm filming a lekker sunset or the dolphins are out there, we're going whale watching, we're just parking off on the beach, cracking a beer. Who does that? Are you allowed to drink on the beach or whatever? But yeah, that's the storytelling. Beer's a lifestyle kind of brand, man, and that's why I thought, and it does. It fits into the surfing lifestyle, no question. Yeah. So definitely built the story in, but not overtly. It's part of what I do. Yeah, it's part of what I do.
So it just slips in.
It slips in there, but what's interesting is, I think the Oaks like, and it's true. I mean, if I'm carrying a freaking keg, or there's 10 kegs and there's 3 on the front seat that I've strapped down, and I've got a delivery at this place, and I'm waiting behind 3 trucks, slipping on potato skins and carrots out the back door kind of thing as they're getting rid of their waste. It's
it's a story.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the pretty story at the front end where you got the barman serving you an ice cold pint with a great head, but in the back we're shitting off there trying to get it through the delivery up the backstairs. So yeah, I would say I know it front to back, and I honestly I enjoy every part of it. I have no issue hanging out with all sides of the coin, whether we having to, jump over 40 empty kegs to try and find mine at the back there because I got to get my kegs back to the brewery, or whether it's doing a promotion and I'm the MC for the evening promoting Bings Bru. I've got no sock wherever we need to fit in,
Yeah. Deon, for the non-Cape Townians, where is the best place to drink your beer? And where do you get the most? Name some of your good retail partners.
Look, we only now we got to start again. So we're in at the Spar at the Elephant. We got the coffee at the front and the beer at the back. So it helps with the petrol deliveries. If we're driving out to the Thirsty Scarecrow, they're great
guys, eh?
They're fantastic. Ivan and Kelly and them, they really looked after us, and a couple of good Woodstock beers out there. Mojo Market, I mean, that's picking up again now that they can do it. Claremont Cricket Clubhouse, I mean, they've supported me. Fantastic. Oh my goodness, it's really, really good beer. But I remember I was in one of the I'm not even going to say where, one of the pubs, and there was a spare tap. So I phoned the Oaks who own the tap, who've got a brand on the other one, beautifully branded, and the beer's great, not going to knock it. And I phoned him, I said, "Hey, Brew, I see there's a spare tap, I'll help clean the tap, whatever, you got a space for me." So, but they're big, Brew. They've got, they're big and they're growing. I won't mention the brand. I might just. And they say, "Listen, you're a bit of a competitor in the market for the space." I hate that word, as we pivot into the new space. Sorry, but there's just no space for you. I'd love to help you, but sorry, but no. So that's fine, understand, I've got 3 taps globally and I must be a huge threat. So about a year later, a mate of mine down at the Toad, we were like Noordhoek early days of getting craft beer in down there. Also, awesome pub. I get a corner space at the bar there, got my tap in there, and hey, it's going great. And I get a little call from the same oak that I phoned a year before. He says, "Deon, I see you've got a corner space there. I was just wondering if we could, maybe share something. I'll help with the cleaning taps and deliveries and that sort of thing." So I said, "I don't know if you remember a conversation exactly a year ago where you said, 'Listen, I'm a bit of competition. How do you feel about that?'" It's like silence. So I said, "Brew, I love everybody in the industry. Of course you can have a tap. Pull in." So we shared a tap at the Toad, and they cleaned it for me, and everything was perfect. So there's lots of behind the story scenes where I arrived and had 6 pubs in a nice big chain, and 6 pubs in a chain, so two kegs a week, and then I'm arriving. How's it? Bings Bru order. Sorry, we don't stock you anymore. What do you mean? Just here? No, all 6 of them. What do you mean all 6? No, has bought they've owned the taps now, and they're putting all 6 of their brands on it. And geez, there's just no more space for you. Never mind, you've been with us from the beginning. You service the taps. You've got a fantastic beer. But money talks, and Bings Bru's got to walk. So that's so you say, involved in other things and other income streams. You've got to have other income streams if you're going to be playing in the beer industry, Bru.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. You do the surf report for Book Radio. What is Book Radio? And I saw a photo of you with beer at Book Radio, so that concerns me.
So it's an amazing concept. Book Radio have the Heroes pub next door, where we've got Bings Bru in the fridge as well, and so people can come and have breakfast. Okay, they can have breakfast and watch the morning show, and then in the evenings they got a local artist jamming on stage, and they can have a pint and then watch the evening sort of broadcasters do their thing. So it's a broadcast studio and a pub at the same time.
That's interesting. And where is it?
It's out sort of, what do they call it? Cape Gate, sort of on the Brackenfell N1 route there.
How long has it been going?
They've been going a good few years, but a community station that's growing and growing, and their online listenership is huge as well. And then, the beer's also out at Ben's on the beach. Every now and again, the restaurant out there gives me a call, but I actually think it's the two owners that order six cases each and then take it home. But that's like I say, it's an unbelievably good beer, but we just can't get it for people to taste,
And is the online thing active now? Can people buy a beer online?
So you talked about the synergies between the coffee and the beer. A lot of that is now going to be happening. So I would say there's let's call it a 6-month strategy for the beer. Look, we're talking 1 month is easy for the online stuff, but a different kind of strategy. I mean, we've got beer, we've got a brand, but it's nobody's getting the beer or the brand. So that's the part of that strategy with the right partners now, and people are chatting, and lovely people that I'm happy to work with. And then, like from the coffee side, it was almost like online is where we have to be with a smaller physical presence. So that, I would say, is like even 1 month turnaround where that's going to, get into its stride. So, and then as you say, there are synergies that you're learning because, there's like distribution that you learn and in-store branding and support and all that sort of stuff. And pricing is always important, if there's enough in it for everybody to get involved.
Yeah. And Deon, where are you based? Where's home for you? In town?
I'm based in Cape Town.
Okay.
But I was remote working long before COVID. So I'm happy. I'm happy wherever you got a laptop or even if you got to use data. So home is anywhere. But ultimately, And
you just Google the surf report and then.
You know what? I've done the radio surf report live on air at 7:30 in the evening in Hawaii. Because it was 7:20 in Cape Town. It's exactly 12 hours difference. So 7:20 in Cape Town was the surf report, and we were in Hawaii. And we phoned it through from there. I've done it from the back of a New York cab. I've done it from not Day of the Dead. They got like Week of the Dead, let's call it, over in Mexico from a graveyard. So the report will go through, Roo. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. I don't know. I can't vouch for how correct it is, but the report will go through.
Well, it's been lovely chatting to you, Deon. I look forward to connecting with you when I'm in Cape Town next time, and hopefully we can have a pint of Bings Brew or a Bings coffee brew.
Yeah, we got so many options, and who knows what else I might come up with, Who else knows what else I might come up with. But definitely we're going to have a Bings Brew, and hey, we must check in about 6 months and see if my plans have come to fruition, or I'm down to one tap and a case of beer in my bedroom, man.
Thank you for listening to our stories here online. In the show notes, you will also find a link where you can subscribe to become part of our community and be notified when we upload our latest content.